Welcome to Second Wind, the podcast where we uncover the stories, methods, and modalities of women and men who have found their purpose while walking this earth. Sometimes they found their second wind by accident, sometimes by hardship, and sometimes by intent. There is always something to learn from others, and really, isn't finding our own purpose what we are all looking for? I know I am, and that's why I'm hosting this very podcast. My name is Wendy Charles Maguire. Thank you for listening, and let's get to it. Second wind. I have a really unique thing that's happening today for this podcast. I have Damion Bankhead with me, and I found Damion found me on LinkedIn because Damion was interested in what I was doing with this second wind thing, because it kind of coincided with what he's doing. And as we started chatting on LinkedIn, I'm like, ooh, I think maybe we should talk. I think I need you. I think I need your services. And you know what? I think a lot of, especially women in their second wind, need to rethink maybe fitness. So Damion has a company. It's called Be Your Own Boss Fitness. And Damion, basically, in a nutshell, and we're going to go into depth with this, but helps adults ages 35 and up, welcome, second winders, to lose weight, build their endurance, even with their busy schedules. He believes in a strong mind, strong body, strong you. And that's really what we want, especially as we hit the second half of life. So we can do all the things we said we wanted to do or find our purpose and can do. And I was very interested in working with Damion because in August of 2021, I got COVID, which knocked me down for a little while. And then right after that, in the beginning of October, I got diagnosed with Lyme. And if you followed the podcast, I maybe not shared it all, but I was really knocked down for a long time. It's been 14 months since maybe even longer, since I've picked up a weight or been in a gym per se. And I feel it. And although people would look at me and say, oh, you look thin, you look good, I feel it. And then I said to Damion the other day, I said, okay, I really am ready to start. We have to start. I would like to do a 2-month program with you, which would bring me right to January, the end of December, right? Beginning of January. My birthday's the 29th of December. I'll be 57. And I was super close to purchasing a anti-wrinkle cream for creepy skin, because I'm noticing creepy skin. You remember that, Damion? And I said, wait a second, before I hit the purchase now and all the wonderful things you get for this cream that's supposed to just make these saggy things in my arms and my thighs disappear, I said, wait a second, maybe if I start lifting weights again, that will go away. And I'm super interested to see, but that's my theory, is we would do all the work on the inside and stop putting things on the outside. Same with medicine, same with all that stuff. So that was a really long introduction. So welcome, Damion, to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Wendy.
Yeah, he's like, I don't really know what to think of this chick. But we'll have fun. So Damion has a very interesting story. And, he's this, if you go onto LinkedIn, you'll see this like really buff, wonderful specimen of a human. Really, it looks amazing. This is not who Damion started off in life as. And there was a point in his life where fitness suddenly became part of his repertoire. And that really was like the beginning, the launching pad of his fitness career. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
About kind of where everything started.
Yes. The first thing, yeah.
So actually, I'll start you off with high school. So
Oh, you want to go? Okay, so we're going to go back with Damion first.
Yeah. So I was always, the little
Okay.
guy. I weighed about 119 pounds soaking wet when I graduated high school. Weighed that all the way through college, actually. I I decided to join the
Wait,
army
how
to
tall were
get
you? So we can get an idea. Wait, give me an idea. So how tall are
about
you for 119 pounds?
5'10". I was very, very small.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, you should be way more than that.
yeah, way more. Actually, I was so small that if I was shirtless, you could actually see my heartbeat rise and fall on my chest. My brothers made fun of me for it all the time. They were jocks. I was a guitar player, and I would always play by myself. And you would find me like reading a dictionary or breaking radios apart and seeing how they worked. I was the cool kid. So. But anyways, I decided to join the army at the age of 17 to get away from my parents' divorce because I didn't want to be around. Unfortunately, I was actually too small to get into the army, so they put me through this
Too
waiver
small to
process.
get into the army.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. They put me through this waiver process. Finally got in. I guess my recruiter pulled some strings or something. Got in, went through basic and AIT. I was right overseas pretty much after that. Um, my last deployment was 2013. Yeah, 2013. This is where I encountered a heartbreak, and I got into fitness as a result of a heartbreak, as a lot of people do. I was overseas. Long story short, I was with a woman, serious relationship. She wasn't faithful. I was paying for a place for her to stay. Turns out I was helping out her new guy, paying for a place for them to stay. So
Ugh.
that kind of got me down while I was overseas. Luckily, my squad leader was I don't know if you've ever seen those like abnormally like just built guys. Like he was massive. He didn't have to work out for it. It's just how he was built. He played college football.
Oh, wow.
His dad was actually the same way, so I guess it's in his genes. But he was massive, and you would never think he and I were best friends because he was all fitness and eating healthy, and I didn't know anything about it. I had never even stepped foot in the gym, so he knew what was going on with my situation about my relationship and everything. And we would come from missions, and I would kind of just stay away from everyone. I had a guitar in my chew, and I would just stay there and play my guitar. That's kind of what helped me deal with my demons over there. He busted into my shoe
Mm.
one day, and he was like, "All right, you got to stop this." I was like, "Stop what?" He was like, "Follow me," and I was like, "No." And he literally used his strength against
No.
me. He came and picked me up, literally sat me outside of my shoe and locked the door behind me. So, needless to say, I followed him. So he was 4 or 5 pounds
Gosh.
my size, so there was nothing I could do. But he showed me how to work out. We ended up at a gym. The gym over there was really nice on post. You had pretty much everything you needed. He showed me how to work out. I saw what it did for me physically as well as mentally, and I kind of just fell in love with it. I started doing my own research on how to eat. Started following athletes. I think the first athlete I followed was Steve Cook. He was a men's physique athlete, and I just started kind of
Hmm.
doing his workouts and adding my little twist to it. And I wasn't confident in the gym just yet. It took months and months. Actually, I didn't come out of the machine room, so there was this huge floor that was free weights, and that's where all the meatheads that knew what they were doing out there lifted heavy and stuff. There was a machine room where everything was machines. Way back in the back, and that's where you would find me when I worked. I never came out on the floor until probably about 3 months before that deployment was over. And that's when people actually started asking me
Hmm.
questions about what I was doing because I gained about 32 pounds of just quality muscle while I was over there, just eating properly and working out, doing research. So people thought I was really,
Wow.
all my friends over there got upset with me actually because when we came back on post, that's usually when everybody wanted to go. It's called the top off. That's what it's called. You could have three alcoholic beverages a night. And everybody would go there after missions and hang out with all the other platoons and companies and stuff, and you just meet a lot of fun people. But um, I kind of shut everybody off. Like every time I came back on post, I was like, no, I'm going to the gym. So I actually, when we weren't on post, we were actually off. We were about 4 hours away from any civilization, just in the desert. It's the site that we were building.
Oh,
I actually
wow.
talked my commander into letting us build a gym out there. So we had this man-made, man-made gym in the desert that we got to work out at. I got enough people to sign the petition and whatnot, so it was pretty good.
Oh, neat.
Um, but yeah, we did that. Came back home from that deployment. Nobody recognized me. Believe it or not, I actually had long hair
Oh, wow.
before I went into the army. My hair was about 14 inches long. I cut it. I had cornrows. I cut it right before I went
Oh,
to the
wow.
army. I didn't even tell anyone that I was cutting it. So I came back home. I had a little muscle on me. I was bald. I was literally walking past like my best friends, and none of them recognized me. It was pretty cool. But when I
Seriously?
got
Like they really
yeah,
didn't recognize you at all?
oh yeah, it was pretty cool. So, um, I got
Wow.
into law enforcement after that. Actually, my law enforcement unit on the other side of this picture. Got into law enforcement, which is kind of what pushed me to doing this. So um, I was on patrol for a few years. It kind of burned me out because I'm not the kind of officer that just likes to sit around. I actually like to be proactive. And then I realized that a bunch of the officers were just sitting around and still, making the same pay I'm
Oh,
making. And that's like, okay, I'm not going to keep killing myself, taking all these calls and stuff. So patrol kind of burned me out. So I worked my way up to detective in a little over 2 years, which is usually takes about 5 years. So everybody thought that was pretty cool. I was the youngest detective back there. But I worked my way up to detective. I was investigating sex abuse and domestic violence, and I assisted with homicides. I was on call. It's pretty much 24/7, so I was always, negativity. And I saw myself kind of spiraling out of
mm,
control. I started drinking because of the things that I saw all the time. Um, I don't know. And like I said, like I was telling you, everybody just looked like bad people to me because of what I dealt with. I dealt with pastors doing things, or just people who claim to be good people doing really terrible things. So nobody in my head was a good person, and me, I'm a religious guy. I don't want to. I didn't want to live that way because I know everyone's not a bad person. So I had to quit that. As much as I didn't want to, I quit cold turkey. It's not really professional. I gave them a week's notice actually, because in the city I was working in, as a city employee, you only have to give a week's notice. You don't have to do a 2 weeks notice, just to
mm.
stay in good standing. So I gave them a week's notice because I had to get out of there. Um, Before that, actually, like right before I put in the week's notice, what made me go ahead and put it in was how they treat you. So uh, my partner went back to patrol because he didn't like how he was being treated in the back. So it was just me. It was a population of about 60, 70,000 people, that city. And every domestic violence and sex abuse report came to one person. So, and they didn't care to get me help or
Wow.
anything. So it was kind of like they worked you in the dirt on top of you already having to, deal with everything. Sorry about
So
that.
let me ask you a really quick question then. Yeah, let me ask you a really quick question. At what point, I mean, now you got extra work and your partner's like, see ya. And you know it's weighing on you. Are you still working out? Two questions. So are you still working out during this time? And the second question is, what was the catalyst, like what was that moment, that defining moment for you to actually write out the resignation and be done?
So, yes, I was working out very hard during that time.
Oh, you were still
Being
working out.
overseas,
Okay.
yeah, being overseas and working out, during hard times, it kind of showed me that this was my therapy. So, I mean, anytime anything went
Okay.
wrong, I would go to the gym and work out, and that's kind of I'd put on like motivational podcasts, and I don't like to take out my feelings on other people. So that's how I dealt with it. I would go to the gym, kind of think about what I was going through, and I would try to leave everything on that gym floor. After that workout, I wanted to leave as a
Mm.
different person. And I think that's why I've always worked out so hard, because I don't really realize that I'm working out. If that makes sense, I'm thinking so much about
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
the negativity, like the things that I want to move past. So, um, but yeah, the catalyst, uh, like I was telling you, motivational speeches. I started listening to those. I don't even know what got me into those, to be honest with you. I just started. I got to a point where I was like, okay, this isn't for me. I was miserable at my job. Like I was. Everybody at my job knew that I was miserable, and my supervisors even knew that it
Okay.
was. They knew I was going to leave. Um, so I started listening to these motivational speakers, and the first one I listened to, his name was Wesley Virgin, but he goes by Wesley $1 Million Virgin. And one of the
Million
very
dollar.
first, yeah, one of the very first speeches that I heard from him, I don't know why it was so powerful, but it's what pushed me out. So this speech was about personal development and not putting yourself in a box. And personal development is what I'm huge on now. So this podcast was, I don't know, it was life changing. So it got to a point, and I actually did this. So he said, go grab your check stub or pull up your check stub on your phone or whatnot, and stand in front of the mirror. And I was like, I don't know what this is gonna, what this little activity is gonna do, but I'm gonna try it. So I actually pulled my check stub up on my phone and looked in the mirror. And he went on just speaking, talking about, knowing your worth and things like that. And now, then he said, look at your check stub, think about everything that you have to do with your job, think about all the stress that comes with it, and then look at yourself. And he was like, look back at your check stub and think about if you're happy, or think about if this is really fulfilling for you. And then he was like, okay, now look back at yourself. And now ask yourself, is this all I'm worth? And I don't know why, but that was so powerful for me. And within days, it took days after that for me to go put in my resignation. That's basically what went ahead and pushed me out. So I started listening to way more motive. That's actually what my social media is. Everyone thinks social media is the devil. I say social media is what you make it. I can get on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, I can get on Facebook, because all I follow is motivational people or CEOs that have done, what I'm trying to do, or I follow people who are going to benefit me. So um, I can get on any of my platforms at any time and scroll and just learn instead of, wasting time on social media. So started following a lot more people and started learning from a lot more people, and here I am today. So
It's incredible, and I feel the same way as you do. I don't know why I started. I do know I started listening to podcasts and Audible in the woods to be loud for bears because I was always walking or running into bears. So, because bears hear better than they see, so that's why I started listening. But I didn't really just want to listen to music or anything. I wanted to learn. I wanted to keep learning and being curious. And you did the same thing, and it pushed us both. And I hope it's my goal that someone or many people are listening to the stories that I'm bringing forth that are helping them, being a pedestal, a leaping pad, a stone, flagstone, to help them do what they want to do. And bringing all this stuff is all this stuff forward is exactly what I'm trying to do. So bring us into, because if people are looking at social media for Damion Bankhead, they're going to think that you are this guy that has really awesome things to say and great ideas. And how can I help you? Now you've got this newsletter, and 10 minutes a week, I can help you make a difference. All this really very, very interesting, very motivational things that you say and do, and you do little videos. And when I started looking into you and your profile, I was super impressed. And then you told me something about yourself. I was like, that does not make sense. That you actually don't really want to do that, right? You enjoy it, but it's hard for you. It's a challenge.
yeah, it
Explain
is.
that a little bit, because just in the fact that you do so much of that just shows how powerful your mindset is.
Well, it's like I said, I am an introvert. Like this right here, this is not, I have to work myself up to do things like this. But, coming from where I come from, I've learned firsthand that you don't grow in your comfort zone. So I
Yeah.
try to make myself do something uncomfortable every single day, because that's just makes you grow. It makes you grow more, gives you more experience on different things. It gives you more, builds your confidence. So, like I said, I'm an introvert, but I can step out of that if I need to. So if like this, if I need to do a podcast or do some kind of public speaking, I will work myself up to do that because I know I'm going to grow from it. It's gonna, it's not going to be, the most enjoyable thing while I do it, but like I said, you grow from it. And when I make my videos, especially my motivational videos and things, it's not really, those come easy to me because most of the time, what most people don't realize is I'm talking to myself. But I feel like other people need to hear it as well. So that's how I make
Oh my
motivational.
gosh.
So, yeah.
That is that is so cool. You did not tell me that is not in my notes. That
Oh,
when you are actually giving yourself a talking to in those,
yeah.
and that's why they're so powerful. That's why they're so good. That makes sense. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm not the only one who needs to hear those things that I'm saying. So that's why I actually put it out. And I don't tell many people that. So there you go.
There you go. And see, this is good. And now you've done a very challenging thing today because you're here with me, and I had
Yeah.
to twist your arm a little bit. But so I have a question. So when you left the police academy, did you? I mean, the being a detective, not the academy, being a detective, and you knew it wasn't for you. You looked in the mirror. You were very motivated by these podcasts and stuff. How did you start your business? Like, that's a pretty big leap. Going from a for certain paycheck to going
With
into
full
being,
benefits and everything.
yeah,
So
explain that. That must have been terrifying.
what made it even more bad, um, when things usually get way worse before they get good. So
Yeah.
I quit my job as a detective, and things got really bad. So um, my I was driving a BMW at the time, and it took a dive, and I didn't have the funds to fix it. I mean, because the BMW maintenance is
Oh, wow. Yeah.
crazy for BMW. So I was actually driving my mom's second vehicle around town. Luckily, I was really good friends with the one of the big gym owners in Decatur. He let me start training there. I told him that this was temporary. I don't plan on working for someone else. Like I don't know. I feel like there's so much freedom in being able to work for yourself, and I don't. I feel like if I don't know. No matter what happens, I don't see myself working for someone else again in my life. So,
Mm.
and I try to show other people that they can do that as well. But, anyways, I started training at that gym. Things were going pretty, decent
Well,
for the.
Damian, when you say training, are you saying you started with not only you working out, but you started having clients?
Yes, I started personal training. He didn't have a personal trainer at the time.
Oh, wow.
He kept getting them, but they kept kind of leaving. I didn't really know why until I learned how personal training works at gyms. Basically, the gym makes all the money. You make like
Oh,
nothing. So,
oh,
and actually, me and him are no longer on good terms because he tried to take advantage of me, of course. Um, but I keep the contract that he wrote out for me as a motivation. So it was pretty
oh,
pretty
wow.
terrible. But I told him it was only temporary and that I wasn't doing this. And he went ahead and tried to type up this long contract because I had trained. When I started training there, it's like everybody wanted to train with me. So I had
Oh,
about I don't even know how many clients I had there. It was a lot of people. So I ended up training. I think right under 100 sessions there, and
oh my
I,
gosh.
yeah, I wasn't even getting paid for them. I was just helping him out. He wasn't paying me properly, anything like that. So he was just taking advantage of me. And then I started my business. I made my logo, as you see here.
Yeah, but
I'm
what
doing
made you want to start your own business? Just because you knew you didn't want to work for anybody? And then as you're seeing no paycheck, you're like, okay, that's it.
yeah.
I need to cross
Well,
this.
and just hearing everybody everywhere talk about their jobs and how their bosses don't treat them well and how
Oh,
they wish they could do something else. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to be in this box with everyone. I want to
yeah.
be part of that, 1%, 10% that's doing, what they love. I saw a stat a long time ago. I don't know if it's still the same, but it's really sad actually. Over 80% of the population will just settle their entire life.
Hmm.
And I just don't, I can't do that to myself. Like, I feel like I feel like I love myself enough to go for what I want, not even, guaranteed to reach that goal, but I'm going to do everything in my power to do that. I'm going to be on my deathbed saying I did my best. There's going to be no regrets. So that's just how I live life. But that's hearing other people talk about how they hate work and what they wish they can do, and actually what they can do, they just choose not to do. Because if you continue to do something over and over, it's a choice then. So they're choosing to live that lifestyle. So
It's
I
true.
just I refuse to be, in that box. Um, but like I said, I made this logo. Um, Actually, anything that I do, like when I make a new, like I have my podcast, my newsletter, I have other little things that anything I do, I always start off with the picture or the logo for it because then it becomes like real to me.
Oh,
I'm a media guy. Like I do all my editing, I do all my photos, I make my logos, I do everything. I've always been into that, so I've spent countless hours in high school and college just playing around with different media stuff. Everyone asks me, I actually get people on LinkedIn that are like marketing experts that ask me who does my content, and I'm like, I do my content. I didn't know it was
that's
like a big
amazing.
thing. So,
It is
but
a big thing, and it's a very costly thing,
I I didn't
for a
know
lot of
that.
people in businesses. Yeah. What made you think of Be Your Own Boss Fitness? Just is that why you're just like, I just want to be my own boss? Like, why did you come up? How did you come up with that? And how'd you come
Well,
up with the group, the age group that you wanted to work with? Because we're not an easy bunch to work with.
you're
I'm
not.
just saying.
So I came up with be your own boss while I was actually still a detective because I kept telling myself I wanted to be my own boss, but not
Oh,
just be my own boss, work wise. I wanted to be my own boss and health, not letting my health, control me, but me controlling my health. Finances. I wanted to be my own boss emotionally, just being the own boss of your life and like in its entirety, not just work. So that's what I mean when I say be your own boss. Um, I'm sorry. What was the other question?
um, oh gosh, Be Your
Oh,
Own Boss.
age group. Sorry.
Yeah, and my age
Uh,
group, my difficult age group. Because real quick digression, my daughter is a tennis pro, and we were with her. A bunch of my age friends were with her, and they're like, "Do you like teaching us tennis?" And she's like, "Yes." What don't you like? And she's like, "Well, y'all say you want to fix something or change something, but then I show you how to do it, but you really don't do it ever." And how come I can't make those volleys? Well, here you have to hold your racket like this. And well, I can't do that, right? So she goes, and that's so I really like, and she tells me, I really like working with the high school kids in that age group because they want to learn. If they're really serious, they want to get better and they're willing to try new things. So that's why I was curious why you would go into my age group, especially with my age group, is my women, 50s and up, are not. You don't see a lot of them in the gym, Damion. I'm just saying.
yeah, it's becoming more common though, and it's kind of a good thing. It's actually
Absolutely
more older people that are serious about fitness now than the younger crowd, which is weird because the
interesting.
younger crowd believes that, oh, I got time, but as you
Uh,
get older, you realize you don't have time. Like you need to start now. I chose the ages 35 and up because 35 is usually when things start happening to the body that you don't want to happen. Like, men's test levels drop, women start holding a lot more water weight, women's bodies start doing a lot more things than men's bodies do. So I commend women because you guys deal with a lot of stuff physically. So, but I would run into people all the time in that age group that are just like, oh yeah, this is how it is. I've gotten older. They'll be like, I'm fat. That's just the way it is. And
mm,
I try to show people that doesn't have to be that way. I know 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds that walk around looking like me because they, started to live a healthy lifestyle, sooner than later. So I try to show that age group that you don't have to just settle with how your body is or settle with the negative aging effects or whatnot and kind of just show people how to live healthy lifestyles that don't require all this nonsense that you see on social media, the fad diets, which are just temporary, or all these crazy exercises. There's a new type of exercise invented like every month now that
Yeah.
it's intense, and it's not for people, of that age group. Um, any good trainer will tell you that the best exercise is the fundamentals and repetition. If you master those, you got it. You don't have to do all this throwing stuff over your head and standing on your hands and all that. You don't have to do any of that. Especially, like I said, living in that age group, you shouldn't be doing that stuff anyways, first of all. And I get a lot of people coming to me that's 40, 50 years old. They're like, well, I saw this on Instagram and I just don't feel like I'm doing enough because of all the stuff that's out. And I'm like, well, first of
Right.
all, if those trainers showed you their workouts, you would probably be bored with it because the fundamentals. That's what all these trainers do. All they're doing is using these crazy exercises for views and likes. But if you saw their actual workouts, they're probably not even doing that. It's going to be the
Interesting.
fundamentals. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you have done you research, like you love researching, you love learning. So you're learning about women's bodies as they get older and holding on to fat. And you and I discussed the fact that I've talked to people too who said, yeah, it's just hereditary. Every woman on my side of the family, would gain 20 pounds after menopause. There's really nothing I can do about it. And then they got high blood pressure so I just, and on the cholesterol thing. So I'm on my statin and I'm on this drug and it's just what it is. And it's okay. I'm just going to try not to gain a whole lot more. And you and I both discussed, okay, you never have to be what came before you.
exactly.
You make the choice, right? So that was one thing I always appreciated being adopted for is like my mother was never an exerciser and had battled her weight. And I was just like, oh, I don't have to do that. And I didn't know what my birth mother looked like. And as it turns out, she's a fit woman.
Mm,
Very short though, which was very interesting, but fit and always loved to be outside and always did activities. And it was hereditary, but in that regard, but maybe not. Had I gone the path of my mother, I would have gained weight. I would have
mm,
not exercised. But not knowing, I'm like, well, I just want to be the best I can be and do that. You don't
exactly.
have to. Lots of people have lots of parents that were overweight and out of shape and all kinds of meds. And when they really focused on just making themselves the best they can be, they look nothing like it.
Exactly. And a lot of people say those things about their parents or whatnot, not realizing that their parents didn't have the best, healthy habits. So that
Right.
contributed to them being, it wasn't all, with some of it, sometimes it is, hereditary, but most of the time it's habits.
It's
And
habits.
uh,
Yeah.
and most people don't realize that. They're like, oh, my mom was this, my dad was this, so I'm doomed from the start, which you're not ever doomed from the start. You choose how you live your life. You choose if you're going to be healthy or not. And I tell
It's true.
everyone, one of the biggest excuses I get is it's so expensive to live healthy. Everything is so much more expensive.
Oh, I hear that all the
Um,
time. Even from my children. Oh, I can't afford the organic. I'm like, you can't afford not the organic.
exactly, because I don't know if people have seen hospital bills these days, but if you
Exactly.
continue to live an unhealthy lifestyle, you'll be well acquainted with them. And that's what I tell people. That's what's expensive, not, buying, 97% lean beef instead of, the bottom shelf stuff. It's really a mindset thing, which is, what I'm huge on. So that's when it comes to my clients, I try to build mindset first.
Mine's
um,
first.
a lot of clients come to me saying that they don't believe they can do this, they don't believe they can do that, and I kind of tell them what. First, I ask them why, and they don't really ever have an answer for it. It's just that they put it in their heads that it's not for them. And then once I show them how easy it is, live a healthy lifestyle, I send out motivational texts every morning. I send out all kind of stuff to, keep people motivated. But they start to realize, maybe this is for me. This isn't as hard as I thought it was, or
Right.
maybe I'm being too hard on myself. Maybe I should care for myself. Sometimes I get messages. That's what keeps me going. The messages that I get from clients, people that aren't even my clients, write me on LinkedIn or whatnot, just telling me how my posts have motivated them to get in, start walking more or start being more mindful of what they're eating. I was talking to a woman from LinkedIn. She actually followed me on Facebook and everything, but she just sent me a message recently telling me about how she was sorry that she couldn't work with me at the time because she's having a hard time. But I don't ever. I help everyone. So if someone reaches out to me with a question, I help. I believe life is so much better when you're helping others, and what goes around comes around. I'm helping people. Maybe one day I'll need help from someone, and they'll help me. So. Um, but she sent me this long message. It was really heartfelt, and telling me how she and her husband have been, following my content, and how she's gotten back into the gym, and she's more mindful of what she's eating. And she told me she had lost 10 pounds since she
Oh,
started following
wow.
me. I was
Just
like,
following
that's
you.
awesome. So,
That's
so
incredible. And that's
that's
one thing I
awesome.
love about you, Damien, is that you knew early on that serving others was important. And that's really what we need to be doing. And
Right.
so take us through a little bit about what happens when a new client reaches out to you. Take us through that process. What does that look like?
Um, So most of the times it's through LinkedIn. That's usually where most of my clientele comes from. Someone will write me asking, what do you offer, or they'll say, hey, I'm your demographic. What would you suggest for XYZ or whatnot? And I usually just end up talking to these people, giving them advice or whatnot that they can. I'm not even trying to get them to work with me. Just giving
Right.
them advice, letting them know that I'm here to help if they need it. Most of them say, okay, well, what do you mean by this, or what do you mean by? And then that's when I get them to book a call so I can kind of go more in depth about that. And usually that they usually want to they usually ask questions about my program and how that works, based off of, I guess, the advice that I give them and whatnot. Because I'm
Hmm.
not a I'm not a salesy person. Like I don't like to, they say when you sell, you have to tap into people's pain points, or um, just all kinds of stuff. Like with me, either you want results or you don't. And I don't try to push people, oh, well, you need to try. No, that's not me at all. So
Right.
if you're ready, I'm ready to work with you. But if you're not ready, I can give you advice or guide you in the right direction. But I'm not going to force anyone to jump into something that they're not ready for. Because first of all, they're not going to take it seriously,
Right.
and then that it's going to be a waste of both of our time. So um,
Exactly.
and both of our time is valuable. Time is valuable to anyone. So I would prefer people just be serious. That's why I don't like doing the whole salesy thing. Like if we
Right.
have a call, my intentions is to learn more about you, give you some advice to help you in your fitness journey. Because usually it stems from me giving advice that they need, a little more on. So I just say, hey, let's hop on a call. And then like I said, they always ask about my services, and that's what kind of leads into that. So it usually leads from a direct message or a comment or something, and then me kind of reaching out saying, hey, this is what I meant by that or whatnot. Then they'd ask more questions, I give more advice, and it kind of just leads up to them getting on a one-on-one call with me.
And then what
I like
happens when they sign up with you? What so
uh,
they're now they've gone through that with you and now they're like, "Okay, I'm ready. Hit go." What happens?
So my 12-week Boss Body program is what people sign up for. I have a jump start program now because a lot of people have asked me to have some kind of an entry level program. So I have a 30-day program now that I just help people who are trying to get back into fitness or into the swing of things of how they used to be, or for the first time, or whatever it may be. But my 12-week program is the big program. So when someone signs up with me, basically, for 3 months, what I do is work with them to show them kind of how their body responds to things, and show them how to create healthy habits, not just to reach that. that short term goal. Because most people that get into health and fitness, they're like, okay, I weigh 200, I want to weigh 140, and they get down to 140, and it's like, okay, now what? And they end up falling
Mm,
if they didn't prepare for it. So I
interesting. Yeah.
try to show people how to succeed in the long run without having to, eliminate entire food groups or do these crazy workouts or fad diets. It's just normal eating, normal workouts for busy adults that have kids, careers and whatnot. Your workouts are usually no longer than an hour, and that includes your cool down as well as your warm up, so you can get back, life's obligations. And if you want shorter workouts, we can do that as well. But basically, for 3 months, when you sign with me, is it's just me at your disposal as a personal trainer and nutrition coach. We make adjustments
Nutrition
based on
coach.
how you're progressing. It's not a cookie cutter program. We'll start you off with an initial plan, and based on how you progress from that is how we make your next adjustments, if that makes sense. A lot of things that, well, one of the biggest things that people like about working with me is that you actually have access to me. It's not like the big, moguls that, you can't ever, you see them on the internet, but you never get to talk to them. Like you speak with their assistant or, someone on their team or something. So this will be something that I always do, no matter how, big I end up getting or whatnot. I'm always going to have some kind of rapport with my clients because I feel like that helps because that builds that trust. I want my
Really
clients to
does.
trust me because actually I take a lot of pride in that. People ask me, I get a lot of crap from other trainer friends that tell me I do too much for my clients. I don't feel like I can do enough for my clients because
Oh,
for
I
for
love
someone
that.
who barely knows me to trust me to help them change their life, that's just, I don't know, that's huge to me. So
It is. And
um,
Damian, eating and the whole nutrition thing, I mean, that's kind of personal. I mean, it's hard for people, I mean, to actually, well, yeah. So I ate, it was supposed to be five of this, but I actually had 20. So so the nutrition part of it, I'm really interested for people like so give me a rundown of a typical client that shows up, like a woman, say she's 50 and she wants to lose, say, 30 pounds. That looks like, I mean, it's obviously the exercises are going to be different based on her experience and what her limitations are and what she can do. But are you
mhm.
saying, hey, show me what you eat? Like, how are you doing that?
Absolutely. I ask everyone, especially people who say that they work out now or that they're try to eat, somewhat healthy, but they're not getting results. So I have
Yep.
to dive into that. So most people that are saying that they work out, they're not working out properly. It's usually something
Uh,
that they saw on the internet that they just do repeatedly, which is
okay.
gonna be the best results. Um, a lot of people don't know how to work out, and
It's true.
what's crazy is that there's so much information out there that you can just get online and find, a week split to, work out for a week. But nowadays, a lot of people need that accountability, that extra push.
Hmm.
So when they feel like they're going to let someone down, because it's human nature, you don't want to let anyone down, especially someone that's helping you or someone that you're trying to, reach their goals or whatnot. But accountability is what most of them really, really need. When it boils down to it, in a nutshell, that's all they need. They need a plan and accountability. So when it comes to nutrition, I ask them kind of what they eat. Most of them aren't eating enough. Even when you're losing weight, you still have to eat enough to not put your body in
I've
that
noticed that. Yeah.
starvation mode. Yeah.
When I got
So
on root cause and started eat, I ate more and was losing weight, and
yeah,
I felt better. It's so
yeah,
interesting because we always think, oh, you got to cut carbs and you have to burn more calories than you take in, and oh, you shouldn't eat, and you should starve yourself for 20 hours a day or whatever it is. Like there's so much crap out there. I think that's what
there's
it is. I think that's what you bring people is that, yeah, you're right.
simple.
There is so much information. There's too much information.
Exactly. I try to make it as simple as possible. Being Army and law enforcement, we say keep it simple, stupid all the
Yeah.
time.
His
That's
his
what I always
effect.
live by. Simple is
Yeah.
it's always the best way. And what I tell my clients, when things aren't working, go back to the basics. start from
Preventative.
the beginning. And that's what I
Mhm.
do with I mean anything. If something's not working for me and business, I'll go back to how I started off doing things that was actually working and then come up with a new plan. So
That's so
it's all
smart.
about just adapting. I show people how to live healthy lifestyles the most simple way possible. And like I said, most of these people, they just need a plan and accountability and someone agreeing with the side of them that actually believes in themselves, if that makes sense. Because we're all
Agreeing
our
with
worst.
the side of yourself that believes in yourself, or maybe
Yeah,
even finding that place within
yes.
someone, right?
So a lot of people come to me, women especially,
Yeah.
especially women with kids. I didn't know that this was such an issue until I started doing this. But women with kids, or say their kids are going off to college now and they're like empty nesters, they don't know
I
what
mean,
to
like the
do.
second wind generation?
Yeah, so they
Okay.
don't know what to do, and they think they have like I don't know. Created this thought that doing something for you or putting your needs first is selfish, which I can understand. You put your kids first. Absolutely put your kids first. But if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of someone else. So
So true.
I've had to help several women, get out of that mindset. They're like, oh, well, what if they need me in college or something? I'm like, well, what if you can't get there?
Yeah.
You have to take care of yourself first. So, men are usually, I don't know, men are usually hit or miss. Most of them just come to me. They're like, hey, man, I want to look like you. What do I need to do? But I do get men. Actually, one of my best stories. His name was Tim. He and his wife actually trained with me. Tim went to the hospital for his annual checkup. He went to his
How old are
doctor.
they? Wait, share how old they are.
They are 40s. I think
40s.
Tim
Okay,
was
just to give us an idea. Okay.
like 46 or 47, one of those.
Okay.
So Tim went to his doctor, uh, and he was about to be put on diabetic medication.
Oh,
Tim,
geez.
Tim was referred to me by another client, and he had this look in his eye. He kind of told me, "Hey, I'm not going to live this way. I'm not going to depend on medication." He was overweight. He didn't like what he saw in the mirror. He didn't like what his doctor told him. So he and
Mm.
his wife got started with me. Tim ended up losing 65 pounds with me. Tim looks like a completely different person. If you get on my website, you can actually see me and his video testimonial. He was telling me about how his son was graduating from high school and his friends hadn't seen him for months, and they were asking who the guy was with his mom, so they didn't even recognize him.
Wow.
But yeah, Tim lost 65 pounds. He doesn't have to take medication. His doctor actually told him his levels were perfect. So uh, Tim was one of those. I don't know. People like Tim are the reason I do this because I know that I'm helping people, but I don't really know what I'm doing for people until they tell me that, and that kind of stuff is overwhelming me because, like I said, I have a huge heart for people, blessing and a curse, of course. But when I hear people, telling me things like that, it kind of just it hits me hard because I'm like, I helped with that, so it's just I don't know. I can't explain it. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no, no.
Um,
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great
but
job. Give me an example of, say, can you give me an example of a woman that is over 50 that came to you that really was surprised herself in her
yes.
results?
So one of my first online clients was a 57-year-old.
Oh,
Um,
that's gonna be me.
she was diabetic.
Mm.
She was active in her younger years, but she stopped. So she was very, very hard on herself. Like self-confidence was way low. So uh, I knew that. So I would, make sure she was good. Most of the time when I check in with clients like that, it's not like, are you eating, what you need to eat? It's first of all, it's how are you? That's how I start my check-ins. But we got her. She actually made one of the biggest before and afters. In just 6 weeks, she lost 15 inches, and that was
Whoa.
pretty. Yeah, her name was Tammy. She's on my website as well.
Okay.
She lost 15 inches, and she, for the longest time, she was still sending me videos of her like hiking and stuff. So we changed her eating patterns up based on the foods that she actually liked because she was really picky. So I had to kind of modify how she ate a little. So I asked her to give me, foods that she liked, and I told her, okay, we can't do that one, but we'll, substitute it
Can't
for
do the
this.
M&Ms as much as you would like. However,
So yeah, she ended up losing 15 inches in 6 weeks, and it was great to see her video testimony on how happy she was, and she was talking to me about her results and things. That's like I said, that's why I do this.
that is amazing. And so we're going to work together, and we're going to, and I am that typical person. I need to share one thing that really set me off to bugging you about doing this with me was my granddaughter, my 7 week, she's 8 weeks today, granddaughter, and I had her over the weekend in North Carolina. And so I was responsible for, overnight too, people. Ugh. And I had to do the car seat thing and the big stroller thing and pulling out of the car and lifting. And I have an SUV, so it's not like I'm picking this car seat, unclicking it because they're so cool now, unclicking it and picking it up and bringing it out. No, no, no. I'm like starting high, picking up this heavy thing, clicking it out, bringing it out, keeping it level, not messing with, trying to be the perfect grandmother, not dropping the
Yeah,
baby's car seat or anything. And then I'm carrying it, and I had to carry it kind of far. And I was like, wow, they made these car seats so much heavier. Like, this is ridiculous. And I'm trying not to, you got it on your elbow, and you're trying not to rock it with every
yeah,
step you take and knock the baby silly. And I said, either I need to really get strong again for my grandchildren so that carrying the car seat isn't a big deal. I mean, I still did it. I'm in pretty good shape, but still, I know I can be better. I know I can do better. And
I
I'm,
get that so
yeah,
much.
it
People
was
don't
like, oh,
put this
here's a good reason. What do
yeah,
you get so much?
a lot of people come to me asking me how they can build their endurance to be able to, go run around with their kids. So a lot of people don't realize all that comes with that when they have kids or whatnot. But living a healthy lifestyle, building your strength, building your endurance, that helps with those kind of things. And that's what I tell most individuals that come to me, or they either have kids or kids are young, um, or they have grandkids, and
Grandkids.
they're always like, yeah, my grandson wore me out the other day.
Yeah, that's
So
not going to happen. I refuse to let that happen. And I'll tell you what, not being able to work out like I've wanted to, after I had kind of started back, but not in the gym with you yet, just taking a few days or a week off, um, it makes me achy.
yeah.
It's really interesting. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I don't feel as good. Do you find that your clients, once they start working with you, are feeling better like all the time?
Oh yeah, I actually, my newest client, she found me on LinkedIn somehow, but she reached out to me, and she basically just tell me how to start. So
Oh
after
yeah.
viewing my website and everything, she's only been with me for a week, and she just actually I screenshotted the message because I like to keep those.
Read it.
Um, what is it? She said, "You're great at what you do, so thanks for helping me. This has been a rough week, but I already feel better, and that has everything to do with the program that I'm on. So you can take pride in that because that's because of you." So
Oh,
uh,
I
she's
love
only
that.
been she's only been with me for a week, and we just like I said, first thing is nutrition. Once you get people, once you show people that it's easy to do, it's not as hard as people think it is, then they get on it and they're just like, oh man, where did this energy come from?
Ding, ding,
So
ding. Yeah.
uh, that's what I hear most. Actually, most people tell me I have so much more energy than I used to have. So, like I said, when you eat your nutrition right and things like that, that I guess those kind of things come out of it. High energy levels, feeling better overall, which is one way that I try to keep people away from the scale.
Hmm.
The scale, if you ask me, the scale just tells that you're alive. You're matter. You're there. Your body's weight's going to fluctuate all the time. So clients that come to me, they want to weigh, every day, and I'm just like, look, you don't have to do that. First of all, you're going to drive yourself crazy doing that because it's not going to do what you want it to do. So I try to
Right.
show people the best way to measure your progress. Maybe how your clothes fit or
Yep.
how you feel overall. Because if you have more energy or if you just feel awesome, you're doing something right. So
Right.
and you keep that feeling up, you're going to start seeing the changes physically or whatnot. And most of my clients don't really even care about the physical appearance. Most of the clients my age group are not looking for the perfect body anymore. They're just wanting to live healthy lifestyles for themselves and their parents. Now, of course, they get that because they're doing what it takes to get that. Most of my clients end up losing 20, 30 pounds on average. They love it. So, uh, like I said, as long as you're measuring your progress the right way, not driving yourself crazy, you're going to keep pushing yourself forward. So I've actually noticed this. People that look at the scale all the time, they tend to, not push themselves as hard because they don't think that they're doing anything. Which,
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, sometimes the body fluctuates in a way that you don't want, but you're actually making progress. So, say you start building muscle weighs more than fat. So, your weight's probably going to
Right.
go up a little bit. And a lot of
Right.
people don't realize that. And they're like, oh man, I'm actually gaining weight. What are we doing? And I'm just like, so I pull up like their before picture and like where they are now. And they're like, oh man, okay, maybe I'm making progress. So I tell them to
Yeah,
stay
it's
away
hard
from
to
the
see it
scale.
when you're in it, right? It's hard to see it
I
when
try to
you're in
tell
it.
people exactly. The scale is, I mean, it's really not your friend. So
No,
I
your
try to
scale,
tell
but
people,
scale's good. Like to just, it gives you an idea. Like um, if like you do it monthly or something, or every
yeah,
other week, just to give you an
I have
idea.
my
Like, did I go crazy in the wrong
yeah.
direction? Right.
I do adjustments with my clients every 2 weeks, so that's usually when I expect a new scale reading or whatnot. Not every
Okay.
day. Like some of my new clients, they come in and like the first week they send me their weight like every day. I'm like, listen, I don't need that every day. It's fine, but which is fine. I have to just kind of have to tell them that the scale isn't really what we're looking
It's not
for,
the
but we're not.
tool that you want to use.
Yeah, it's not something that we're trying to really focus on, if that makes sense. We're focused
Yeah. And now
on.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, now you started your newsletter. That's kind of new. How's that going?
Uh, it's going pretty well actually. I have about 400 subscribers now already. So
Wow.
yeah,
And
it's
you
been
launched
been
it
good.
when? Like a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Oh no, it's been I've had it for about a month now,
Oh, a month. Okay. Yeah. When we talked, it has been a month. Okay.
and
That's
so yeah, I
amazing.
started that, and it's pretty good. So I'll usually the short videos that I make, I'll usually
Hmm.
go into depth in my
Okay.
newsletter and things like that. Just so basically, the Bossful newsletter is uh, helping you create, healthy habits and long-term success in, less than 10 minutes a week. And most people like it because I didn't realize there's still a lot of readers out there because a lot of people don't like to read these days, but most people really enjoy this. I get really good feedback from it. I've been working on my podcast actually because, I make music as well. So actually, pre-signed recording artist. I hadn't been able to record anything new here recently because I've been focused on trying to get this how I want it before I branch off into something more.
Hmm.
But the podcast has been doing pretty well. So it's basically just instrumentals that I create with playing piano or one of my guitars, and it's me speaking over it. So that's another thing that I do to get out of my comfort zone. Because, like I said, when I'm being motivational, I'm usually talking to myself, and
Mm.
these speeches they've done pretty well so far. I got about I think I have 7 of them out now. Trying to go ahead and get 10 of them out before I start really pushing it, just to get people something to work with.
Right.
But the people
Right.
that have subscribed, they really enjoy them. So
Well, tell us how
hopefully,
all the ways we can find you. If people who are listening to this want to work with you or at least want to discuss it or research it, what are all the ways people can find you?
so I'm on basically everything. I'm most active on LinkedIn, of course. It's just such a great platform. You can find me on LinkedIn by my name, Damion Bankhead, or Be Your Own Boss Fitness. Instagram is BYOB Fitness Coaching. Um, Facebook is my name, Damion Bankhead, or you can just go to my website and find all of this, BeYourOwnBossFitness.com. So that would probably be the easiest way. And that
Okay, and
actually
then
has a newsletter and all my services and
oh, it
everything
has
in
all
there.
your stuff. And the testimonials, which are really neat to look at.
Yes,
It's
they're
really
all
fun and it's not like some pie in the sky thing. It's like real life. You can do this. Nothing's
exactly.
crazy. It's a lifestyle. We're going to help you get in touch with your positivity and help you reach the goals you want to reach and be flexibility, get flexibility and strength so that the grandchildren don't worry about, so the kids don't worry. So, and when you're stronger physically, it automatically makes you stronger mentally. And then when
Right.
you get stressful
And vice versa.
situations, yeah, it's totally a yin yang thing. And then you can hit pretty much anything that hits you, anything in life that is thrown at you, you can hit it head on and have no expectations and let it in, let it out, and your body stays your temple the whole time.
Exactly. And that right there is what I try to show people.
Yep.
I try to show people that they can do exactly what I did. 119-pound guy, miserable, hated what I saw in the mirror to, loving what you've accomplished. And it sounds weird, but since I've started doing this and working with people and um, actually, going full in with this, I feel like I've developed a strong enough mindset to the point where I don't really, it sounds weird, but I don't really feel like I can fail, if that makes sense. Because
Oh no, no, no. It
I
makes
know that,
sense.
yeah, I know that failure is how you learn. So if I do fail, I'm just going to learn from it and keep going. And that's kind
Yeah.
of what I try to show people because most people they get into fitness, something doesn't work, and they're like, all right, I'm out, I'm done with this. It's not working, it's not for me. And I show them if it's not working, that means that that's not what your body's responding to. We just got to switch it up and try something else until we find that sweet spot and then build off of that. And that's kind of how everything works in life. Like the motivational things that I put out, I try to make them so that you can apply them to fitness as well as real life. So, like I said, I'm all about mindset because if you can't beat your mindset, you might as well not even set a goal because you're not going to
Yeah.
accomplish it. So I show everyone, hey, everything starts with your mind. Those excuses that you make, they're not even real.
They're not even real.
They only exist in your head, and
Yep.
it's things that you've created because of fear. And everything, as Will Smith said, everything that you want in life, everything good is on the other side of fear. So if you can just
So
push through
true.
that just for a little bit and just have a taste of that, life is so much better. Like taking these
100%.
leap of faith, getting out of law enforcement, that was scary. But once I let go of the things that were holding me back and got rid of some of that fear and just said, hey, I'm going to push through this, doing uncomfortable things like this. Life has been great. Like
Yep.
it's
And you're in your
pretty.
purpose, Damien. I mean, point blank, you're in your purpose and you're serving others and you really can't fail. I mean, you may have to pivot or, adjust, but that's
Exactly.
not failure. That's not failure at
Right.
all. And I
Right.
am just so excited to start working with you. And 8 weeks from now, you and I will do another episode and then we can talk about, we'll see where I'm at. I'm really excited. I'm coming back almost from, almost as a blank slate kind of, because I was so weak and so down for so long that, we're going to have to build it back up again. And I'm super
It's
excited and I can't wait
it's
to
good to
share the
start from.
results.
It's great to start from the bottom because the only way you can go is up. So
That's right. That's right. And if there was like one sentence or one thing that you say to yourself every day that keeps you going, what would that be?
um, I say a lot of things to myself. Actually, I actually have this little book here where I do all my planning. This is my planning book here. I write everything in this book. But in the front of this, I say the same affirmations at the beginning of my day.
Oh, wow.
Say
So
the
you
same
do
thing.
affirmations every day?
Absolutely.
Every day.
Like I said, everything it starts with the mind. So what I tell people is no one really knows what you need to hear except for you. So if you can tell yourself the things that you need to hear and actually push yourself out of your, you know, situation or whatnot, you're gonna do whatever you want to in life. Because like I said, only you know what you need to hear. So if you can constantly build yourself up, first of all, it's going to make you less dependent on other people and trying to find, happiness in other people, which happiness comes from within. So if you can build that happiness from within and actually push yourself out of your comfort zone, there's literally limitless uh, opportunities for you out there. And I don't know. I've kind of learned that, and I'm glad that I can kind of share that with people now because I was not always not even close to this guy. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to fit in with everyone, and I realized from the jump that I didn't fit in because I didn't like to do the same things that people like to do, like going out and partying and stuff like that. It was out of my comfort zone, but I did it to fit in. And now I don't really care to fit in. Fitting in is not. I don't even get why people want to fit
Who
in.
even decided what that was, right? Yeah, exactly. Well, Damion, thank you so much for your time today. And I am excited to share the results. I am excited for lots of second wind women, especially, to go ahead. Let's go ahead and lift some weights. Yoga's great, Pilates great, walking's great, but we definitely need a little bit more. And I've been doing all those things in swimming too, but we need to add some weights. And I'm excited to see noticeable changes, and I can't wait to share with my second wind family. And thank you so much, Damion. And until next time, breathe in your second wind. Thank you for listening today. I hope that something you heard made you smile, made you think, and made you feel. If these incredible stories empowered you, awakened you, or left you feeling inspired, make sure to share with a friend and write us a review on iTunes so we can continue to change lives through this content. Make sure you tag us while you're listening on our Facebook group, My Second Wind, or hit the link in the show notes to join the conversation. Until next time, go ahead and breathe in your second wind.